welcome to the Parallax Poetry Salon. I'm Andrew Sweeney. I'm here with Regina Sara Ryan and a couple of friends. It's the new year, and I'm very happy to begin the new year with Regina, whose poetry is incredibly, I feel it's very positive on some level, on some very profound level. I feel it's a very nice way to begin the new year. She's the author of many books. I'll put her bio in the notes. One of the books is called Praying Dangerously. I think that's my favorite title. Very devotional style and poetry, which reminds me sort of another time and another place, but strangely relevant to now. So, Regina, if you would like to jump in and maybe tell us something about yourself and your approach before you begin reading, if that's okay.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for inviting me to be here. So I wrote a book very many years ago that hasn't yet been published, but hopefully it will. It's called Unashamed Devotion. And it's about my life in love with God ever since I was a child, and the many paths that I've walked in that hunger. So I was a Roman Catholic nun. I was a Rajneesh sannyasi in India, dancing wildly to all kinds of wild music. And I was a iconoclastic follower of a cult leader in California for a while. And then I was fortunate to have been found by the guru who I stayed with for 40 years. And that was Lee Lozowick, and he died in 2010. And so now I live at his ashram, and I am the hearth keeper at the main house where we host events and so on. So I do a lot of hosting of people and retreat organization and so on. So I've been a teacher all my life, and a writer, many books, and continue to do that now. And I hope I don't disappoint people with your beautiful introduction, because you said I'm so positive, but
I didn't mean that in a namby-pamby sort of way. I meant in a powerful way. But anyway.
Well, because it's the turn of the year, and my friends go out on New Year's Eve, but I don't. I use New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for recapitulation, for writing, for looking at the goals and aims of the past year, and for the hungers of my soul for the next year. So the poems that I've chosen 4 poems, and the ones I've chosen are reflecting where I've been in the last couple of days. And since this is only the 3rd day of the new year, maybe somebody else might be inspired to look at some of these things. So I'll take a drink of water and then I'll read a poem. So, I come out of that religious New Age culture that says, live here, be here now, live the moment, and so on. So out of that, I created this poem, and it's called Impermanence. And even if you could grasp the moment, well, what would you do with it? This sky emblazoned with saffron, these clouds building fiercely on the western hills, the images that startle you into awe, the sweet, sweet melodies that draw your tears, the faces of happy children. What's to be done with them? And should we prolong the breathing in and breathing out merely to have more of them? More pockets full of moments? more shiny shells to take home and put in a jar? And should we drink poison enough to kill every last trace of whatever it is that lives uninvited in our flesh and bones, simply to fill our pockets with sand, to decorate a basket, to sit on a coffee table? If only you could leap into that sky. Let yourself be lightened by those clouds. If only you could crawl into the crevasse of a broken heart and melt there, fired by the smiles of those children. My question is, what's the real benefit of more? When you could wake up this minute, why not? That's a favorite of mine because I am a happy person. So when you said I'm positive, it's true. I am a very happy person, and I experience the arisal of joy a lot. And then there's always this thing, well, what do you do with that? So that poem came out of the question, what does one do with the arisal of joy? So this next poem I call Bodhi. And you're probably familiar with the term the bodhisattva, the one who has organic wisdom and who comes back lifetime after lifetime to heal and to serve. Some days are like this. You wake with an ache in your chest that isn't even yours. But you know that somewhere great rivers of blood are being shed. Somewhere mothers are weeping over children, bodies strewn like wildflowers. Somewhere men and women eat a bowl of pain. A man tells his wife that he is leaving. A woman wakes in an empty bed or puts her hand to an empty place where a breast was. Somewhere in the screeching of brakes, there is a shattering of glass, of lives. This earth is covered in a sea of suffering. If for a few moments we managed to forget, do not begrudge us our wine, our prayer, our reaching out for a word or a touch, even from a stranger. Okay, time for a sip of water. So my darling husband, who I was married to for 47 years, died in 2019. And I live on a beautiful piece of property, an ashram in the high desert of northern Arizona. And because we are private land, we can bury our dead on the property. So I am a very fortunate widow whose husband is buried up the hill with a magnificent view. And this poem talks, I call it Ave Maria Post. And that's because my husband had a strong devotion to Mother Mary. Even though our ashram is not a Catholic or Christian ashram, we were both, I was a nun, he was a Catholic priest. And we both always loved Mother Mary and still do. So at his grave, I have a carved pillar that's carved with images and the words Ave Maria on them. So I call it Ave Maria Hill, even though my Hindu friends don't call it that. And this poem is called Ave Maria Post. Because you no longer warm my bed, I wait for the sun and walk the hillside path to where your bones remain these 6 years now, and check to see that the flowers might be fresh and that no coyote has left its traces in the night. Then bending toward the Madonna at your head, I whisper Aves and more prayers for help with chants of rum. My dearest darling, every morning that I'm at home, I've come to you and lit the incense to cover you with a blanket of smoke. I've placed a candle at your heart because it was the center of your life. And then I sit. Some friends have given us a bench, and here I wait, and here I listen for my orders of the day. No sudden moves, you may warn me. Remember who they are, you might caution. Live worthy of us, you command. And from the place of your eyes, I imagine your view and attend to the sky and know that soon or sooner I'll be back at your side in this bed, in the rocky ground, with these same 3 pine trees at our heads, like the crosses on the peak of Calvary. Softly, I bend and kiss my fingers, laying them on the stones at your feet. And I know once again what it's like to be loved. What could cause me to ever forget? Ah, take a deep breath after that one. It's so tender for me, and I'm happy to share it with you if it's of any value to anyone. So we live, on this isolated, beautiful, beautiful isolated property. There's 18 of us. And as the years go by, we have more and more 70-year-olds living here. So this is my poem called Septuagenarian Youth Chant. And this is true because we host a lot of events. And one of the events that we host is a youth camp. When I say youth, it's young adults. They're 18 to 24, and they just come, and we have some facilitators, and they do wonderful, wonderful things. And so this poem came out of my sharing and hosting of that experience. I'm not one of the leaders. I just clean the toilets and mop the floors and help with the cooking. We septuagenarians are hosting a camp. It's for youth, but we'll make an exception. We'll make some great toast and spread out lots of cheese and brew pots of your favorite coffee. We won't hesitate when you turn up the volume, shake a foot, nod a head, clap our hands. You can spend your days hiking and biking and texting, but the nights are for telling your losses. How your mother's a drunk and your father's an ass, and you fear that you're really a woman. How one friend shot himself, but another just cuts, even though credit cards have no limit. And we'll listen, we'll weep. Sometimes we'll smile. We'll look straight at the pain in your eyes. But mostly we'll wait until you sit close and keep silent unless we are questioned. We have our losses too, and we have no sure cures, no advice, and clearly no programs. At our best, we're old oaks or rock worn away by the rivers that slowly carve canyons. We'll offer you nothing, but we won't go away. And we'll welcome you back when you're ready.
Welcome to Parallax, the resurrection of truth, beauty, and goodness. Parallax, a media war engine. Parallax, the construction amidst eternal decay. Parallax, the portal to the edge of chaos. Parallax, poem and provocation. Parallax, mad philosophers and tantric demigods. Parallax, totem for an unknown god. Parallax, philosophy and the return of the matriarch. Parallax, the end of the meaning crisis. Parallax, the whispering daemon in your ear. Parallax, the god of wisdom, wine and love. Parallax, your home for superior publications, podcasts and courses. Parallax, join us today.